Hey guys, welcome to Franklin Woodworks. This is a short follow-up to my lathe stand build. I said that I was going to figure out tool storage, and indeed I did. True to form, I used scraps I had laying around, and I wanted to share how I did it. I had a length of 3/4 inch plywood laying around from a previous project, so I ripped it into two 3.5 inch strips. Then, after measuring the thickness of my turning tools, I took a scrap piece of oak and used my table saw to resaw it to a thickness of 9/16. The thickness of my largest turning tool was 33/64, and since 9/16 translates to 36/64, that should be just enough clearance for the tools to be easily moved in and out of the rack. Once I finished with the resawing, I ripped that piece of oak into 1-inch strips. Over to the miter saw, I used a stop block to cut the oak strips into pieces that were just shy of 3.5 inches. These pieces will be dividers in what will become my oak and plywood sandwich. Back to the plywood strips, I laid out the spacing where the oak dividers will go. Then I used my table saw fence as a stop to make sure everything stays in alignment as I put it together. Just a little glue, not overdoing it so I don't get squeeze out, I tack the dividers into place. Then a little more glue and I tack the other plywood strip into place. So I can attach the rack to the lathe stand, I drill 2 large access holes on each end, then bevel those holes just so it doesn't look so rough. On a side note, I learned that if you run your countersinks in reverse, not only is it much easier to control your depth with a handheld drill, but the bevel turns out really smooth. I got a few cans of paint on clearance at the big hardware store, the color being hammered black stainless steel. I guess the guy that named it was hammered. So I painted the lathe stand, and I'm using the remaining paint so the tool rack will match. I didn't really care about the color, I just wanted to protect the stand a little from shop abuses. After the paint was dry to the touch, I moved everything back to the shop. I held the rack in place using a couple of clamps and screwed it into place. Time to move everything over to the new lathe stand. The tools fit perfectly, just enough room to easily take them in and out, but snug enough so the tools don't flop around. Now, I don't know about you, but I often get ideas for projects when I'm in the middle of another project. Since my attention span is pretty short,
Squirrel!
I had to stop what I was doing to knock this project out. Now that the rabbit trail is finished, it's back to my turning projects. Hope this gives you some good ideas for your shop. Thanks for watching, and there you go.